be righted quickly. You know, Mike's going to be the leader of this group, and he's certainly a great head coach.
Okay, so here's the deal. We have former Cowboy Marcus Spears with us. Always good to see you, Marcus, doing your thing on NFL Live every day. Been watching you. The Cowboys are in last place in the worst division of football. Granted, they don't have Dak Prescott. They are 4-9, and Mike McCarthy's job apparently is safe. So, Stephen A., I want to focus on Dak, though, in his return. Should Dak want the Cowboys to keep McCarthy as head coach?
Well, I think Dak should want to keep him because he makes Dak look very, very good because he's so incompetent on so many other levels, it appears, this year. Dak looks like the savior. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that the first 3 games, even though they were 1-2, if I remember correctly, or actually the first 5 games, they ended up 2-3 because he got injured in that 5th game. Dak Prescott had completed 68% of his passes. He had 9 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions, and he was en route to a similar year to what he had the year before when he threw 30 touchdowns, just 11 interceptions, and completed about 68% of his passes. And at the time, the Dallas Cowboys were one of the top 2 or 3 offenses in the entire National Football League. So we have to understand that when we're lamenting the state of affairs with the Dallas Cowboys, Mike McCarthy picking the defensive coordinator that is Mike Nolan, Mike McCarthy with some of the decisions that he's elected to make thus far appearing to be as archaic as ever. It's made Dak Prescott's stock elevate even higher. As much as we raved about Dak Prescott and how the Dallas Cowboys should have taken care of him contractually, we rave even more about it now that he's gone because we see what they are without him with McCarthy there. So my attitude is keep McCarthy if I'm Dak Prescott. Now, if it's me, Jerry Jones, it doesn't matter. But if I'm Dak Prescott, keep him because it's making me look better and better every day.
It's going to make him look worse over time, though. If I were Dak Prescott, I'd want to get rid of Mike McCarthy. I never thought Mike McCarthy should have been the hire, and I gave McCarthy credit when I thought he started to coach him up. I thought early in that Eagles game they came ready to play. I thought they played well against Pittsburgh. They beat a Vikings team that had just cleaned out the NFC North. Of course, they're built to play those NFC North teams. The Vikings team, it turns out, is not very good. And maybe that Cowboys game is some evidence of that. But look, here's a team in their own division with Ron Rivera, also a retread coach, a coach who hasn't won a Super Bowl like McCarthy. Of course, Rivera had Cam, who was great, but McCarthy had Aaron freaking Rodgers, right? Still lost his job. And look how they're doing without him up there now. And look at the culture change in Washington. Like, Washington is heading in the right direction with less talent than the Cowboys because they got a better coach. Let's be honest about it. Mike McCarthy, I know he's missing his quarterback. What quarterback does Ron Rivera have? Alex Smith on a bum leg? Dwayne Haskins, who so far has been a big disappointment in the pros? Like, you know, he's making lemonade out of lemons over there. What's McCarthy doing, really? We saw Mike Tomlin, I know he's an all-time great, go 8-8 without Roethlisberger last year. What's McCarthy doing? Because McCarthy's played that Washington team. McCarthy's Cowboys have played Ron Rivera's Washington franchise twice already. Their season series is over. He's 0-2, and he's been outscored, I think it's 66-19. Oh, that's a curb stomping. No, I think Mike McCarthy was the wrong hire. I think it's because Jerry Jones' ego is such he can only hire a guy who's not going to take credit away from him. I think if I were Dak, and so Mike McCarthy's perfect. He comes in with the gravitas of a Super Bowl, but, you know, is not going to really stand up to Jerry. I think if I were Dak Prescott, give me Bieniemy. Give me Lincoln Riley. Give me a young, up-and-coming offensive mind who's going to get the best out of me. Not a guy on the sidelines who's going to kind of look like a head coach, but is not on that level.
Yeah, I'm with you, Max. Miss me with the whole Dak should be happy with Mike McCarthy. Might I remind you guys that under Mike McCarthy was the years we talked about Aaron Rodgers not playing really good football. And now we see the past 2 years what Aaron Rodgers has been able to do under a new coach. Look, Mike McCarthy, for all intents and purposes, gets a mulligan because it's 2020. And he lost his starting quarterback, and the offensive line is depleted. And you see the things that are going on defensively, which he can deflect onto Mike Nolan. But the bottom line is this team doing the same damn thing they've been doing at the beginning of the season. They don't look any different. The running back has digressed. You look at this team defensively, a head coach's job is to delegate. is to find problems that they have that keep them from winning and fix them. Have they fixed anything defensively? I don't think so. I've been watching the film. Nothing is new on that side of the ball. So no, I don't think this has anything to do with Mike McCarthy. To Max's point, this has everything to do with Jerry's ego and Steven's ego, and it has everything to do with the fact that we are in a year where you see a lot of things happening that are disturbing as far as football goes. And when you look at the Dallas Cowboys, there are built-in excuses for everybody. Zeke fumbling the ball, digressing because the offensive line is not good, and you don't have Dak Prescott at the quarterback position to take some of the pressure off. But this is nothing but 2020 playing a positive light on Mike McCarthy, because this team hasn't done anything to make you believe next year is going to be any better. What they going to do? What they going to do based on coaching? When you look at coaching for the Dallas Cowboys, what are they going to do differently that is going to make this team a playoff team or a Super Bowl team like the expectations have been? I don't see it.
Well, let me answer that. Jerry Jones has had a history and a penchant for firing people under the head coach. He has had a history where he's made the head coach get rid of personnel under the stewardship of the head coach before he's gotten rid of the actual head coach. So because of that, it's entirely possible that Jerry Jones could turn around and say, okay, Mike McCarthy, you can stay, but Mike Nolan's got to go. And we got to get people back in here that can coach this damn defense. That, with Dak Prescott returning, obviously could potentially elevate the Dallas Cowboys in that regard. I'm not wishing for it because that would make Dallas Cowboy fans happy, and we know I don't want that. But nevertheless, it is plausible.
You off your game. You off your game this morning. You off your game. Like what you just said. What are you talking about? How many years you never let people forget? How many years has it been since the Dallas Cowboys won a Super Bowl? How many things have transpired? You know what Jerry and Steven been doing? Like you just said, making the head coach fire people that's under him. What has that gotten them? Do you think Mike McCarthy is going to take the Cowboys to a Super Bowl?
Time out. Don't be hypocritical. Don't be hypocritical. You sat on this air last year and you talked about how their defense was relatively decent, that they had other problems. You understand? But you pointed that out. You looked at Marinelli and Rashad, and you said their defense wasn't bad. Right now, I'm looking at their defense, and I'm saying their defense is atrocious.
Jason Garrett needs to go. I was the one that said
I'm not questioning that. I'm not questioning that. I'm not questioning that. What I'm saying is, you have said in the past that their defense was looking relatively respectable, but you had decisions from the head coach that were highly questionable. We can sit up there and go through that ad nauseum when it came to Jason Garrett, which is why Jason Garrett needed to go. But the point that I'm trying to make to you is that, for example, if you had kept those folks intact, if you had not brought in Mike Nolan, all right, and Dak Prescott had not gotten hurt, what would we have been saying about the Dallas Cowboys? I might have been calling them out because of that black cat running around, but there's a lot of people, maybe it wasn't you, maybe it was Damian Woody picking them to win the Super Bowl or get to the Super Bowl last year, but there were plenty of people that looked at them and said, excuse me, they've got an upside. That's all I'm saying here.
Look.
Okay.
Look, if the Cowboys were stacked, right, then you could say Mike McCarthy, who once was you can't be a bad coach and win the Super Bowl, Mike Ditka notwithstanding. You're not going to be a bad head coach and win a Super Bowl, right? And so if they were stacked, maybe Mike McCarthy wouldn't be the wrong guy because he knows how to organize a team, at least based on his track record. But guys, their window, when they had a great offensive line with all those first-round picks, and a cheap quarterback overperforming in the fourth round pick on his rookie deal, that was the window where a guy like McCarthy might be able to do something. Dak's about to get paid. All those first round picks are either gone, retired, or hurt. The offensive line is not the same. It will not be the same for some time if it ever gets back in Dak's career to what it was. This is the time where you don't bring in a retread who's kind of going to look the part and not mess things up. This is the time where you need to have an innovative football mind come in and get the most out of this group. That ain't Mike McCarthy.
I'm not saying it is. I'm saying that his presence makes Dak Prescott even more valuable because we see what Dak Prescott has to work with. The question was, who do we think, whether or not we think the Dallas Cowboys should keep Mike McCarthy. The question was about Dak Prescott. And I'm saying for somebody that's looking for their money, all right, Dak Prescott's value is elevated every day Mike McCarthy is on the job because it highlights how desperately they need Dak Prescott. How do y'all not understand that?
All right.
Because it's
I
not
understand,
real.
but to piggyback on that. All right. Since Dak Prescott's injury, the Cowboys rank dead last in offensive efficiency in the entire NFL. We will leave it there when we come back. Mark is sticking around here with us because we've got a... What's up, Stephen A?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say
right,
Mark is making those facial expressions like he's scaring somebody. He's not.
Oh, man, wait till we come back.
You know who's getting scared of talking to the media? That would be Kyrie Irving, but he finally spoke. We're going to react to that. Plus, Lamar saves the Ravens in Cleveland, but to find out why Baker made the bigger statement.